Practicing medicine without insurance is possible. Imagine a private practice where you get to see your best patients every day, providing medical services you truly enjoy, all without the hassle of insurance. My name is Dr. T. Nguyen, and I'm a recovering specialist who was completely burned out from insurance-based medicine. I pivoted into direct care, where patients pay me directly for my medical services and have never looked back. If you're a private practice owner or planning to become one who's looking to be free of the grind of insurance and you're craving simplicity, efficiency, and connection with patients, you are in the right place. This podcast will help you map out your exit plan and uncover the mindset needed to thrive in today's economy. Welcome to the Direct Care Podcast for Specialists. The 3 biggest lessons I've had so far is something I'm going to share with you today. So 3 things I've learned since I started my journey on this direct care path. It wasn't overnight. I opened my practice in 2018, contracting with every single insurance and getting a little butthurt when one insurance wouldn't take me because they had enough podiatrists. And so at that moment, I should have realized that was a gift because that particular insurance is a total nightmare anyway. So why was I fighting for that? I don't know. It was just what I was conditioned to believe. And now that I'm on the other side of the insurance game and I realized that was actually a huge blessing and it gave me opportunity to try something different. And the thing that was different was direct care. So here were the 3 biggest lessons I've learned so far since opting out of insurance. The first thing was your colleagues, your referral network, you're going to hear less from them. They're not going to refer to you as often because it's going to be challenging for them. Now, if you take their point of view, a lot of these doctors are in a system where with the click of an EMR, it's going to send out a fax note, a referral note. There's an automated process to referring out. And unfortunately, here in California, it's system-based. So a lot of these networks are actually closed. And so referring out is extra work. And, systems have designed it to be such a closed ecosystem that it is extra work to physically refer to an outside doctor. There's a whole process that they have to go through. The patient and the doctor, they have to basically justify why they're going out of network when they already have these services. At least they perceive that they have these services. And what all that really means is you just may end up hearing from them less. They may no longer be providing you a stream of patients. And that was a huge lesson for me. And even if these colleagues were friends, close friends, they're not going to get it, and that's okay. The second thing I learned in this journey is my old patients who I was seeing, who was taking advantage of me through their insurance, they're not going to love paying you out of pocket. And I'm not going to say 100% because some will stay, but it's not going to be a big number. I think universally, talking to all of the doctors who have a direct care practice who left insurance and moved on to this newer model, the percentage might be less than 30%, even as low as 10%. And that's what I found myself in because I didn't prepare myself that well and I wasn't in practice for that long. I feel like that percentage was a lot lower. And I don't know if that would be different if you were in practice longer. I just don't know. But what I do know is that if patients found you because they wanted to use an in-network doctor, they already had it in their mind to not pay more. And now you're asking for that exact demographic to start paying you when they were so used to not paying you. It's not likely going to happen. So that was the biggest lesson I learned from the old patients who many of them decided to move on. And that's okay. And then number 3, the closest people to you, your loved ones, your partners, your friends, your inner circle, they will be really confused as to what you're doing, especially if they're not a business owner, especially if they've never taken chances themselves, and especially if they don't know where you're going. The direction is not clear. It might be clear to us because we've taken the time to read, to research, to meet with other doctors who have this model. So it might make sense to some of us who are choosing to take this path, but realize that your excitement is not going to match the excitement of those around you who are not even trying to do this. So they're going to be very confused And it may even seem like they're not going to support you, or they might be actively pushing you back to their comfort level. And to all of that, I want to say, so what? So what if your colleagues don't refer to you anymore? So what if your old patients are done with you? And so what if the people closest to you don't get it? What does that mean? Well, we want to know why, right? So why do people act this way? This is such a predictable process of just general human behavior. I want to share it with you. People don't like new and radical things. It will always create strong feelings because everybody is in their comfort zone. Steady is what they know and what they like. So when you change it up a little bit, it's concerning. They don't know how to react to it. So their first instinct is usually a gasp, like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Followed by, okay, I get what you're doing. And then some people never really get there. They never really get what you're doing. You also want to understand that there might be a little bit of jealousy. Some people are living out their dreams, while some people have all the fears and they won't. So your courage is going to lead to some level of jealousy, even if it doesn't come off like that right away. There might be a little bit of resentment of how dare they do something that I could never do, that I don't have the courage to do, or I choose not to do. And that's the thing, is that there are people who are choosing, actively choosing not to live out their dream. And that doesn't concern you. You just got to do what's best for you. That's all you can do, right? You can only focus on what you are deeply passionate about, what you're daring to do. And that's going to bother a lot of people. Now, when it comes to people who truly care about you and they're kind of acting in a way that seems resistant or unsupportive, I do want you to realize that they're coming from a place of concern for you, because they only know a certain way of life, a certain safety level that they've gotten accustomed to, and you're doing something that they're not familiar with. They didn't take the time to read the books you've read, the podcasts you've been listening to, the people you've been talking to. They've done none of that. Only you know what you've done. And once you get them into part of your conversation, you're going to feel like that resistance, like, oh, how come you're not supporting me? I'm really excited about this. But the reality is they're just looking out for you. At least I like to believe they're looking out for you. They're looking out for your safety, and they don't know where you're going. It's unclear to them. And so they do come from a place of concern, and that's okay. What you're doing is you're shedding your old identity, your old self, your old way of thinking. And these are people who know that version of you. And maybe they're not ready to see you evolve. And maybe you're not even seeing yourself evolve. So let's be real. There's going to be a big part of us that changes, and that's uncomfortable to ourselves too. And realize that you're going to also have these self-doubting thoughts that creep up too. And it makes it even more hard to change the way you practice medicine when you've only known it one way, and the people around you have only known it one way. So let me help you navigate to the next phase. So, all of those things I just shared is all of the things I had experienced. And the more you're able to get through them, the quicker you're able to rebound from them, then the better off you'll be, because you'll be able to focus on the next steps instead of dwelling on this part of you that has to grieve. You're going to grieve those losses. And some people are not ready to grieve that. And so they don't make those hard decisions to move forward. But if you're looking to move forward, here are the three things I really want you to start practicing if it's not already part of what you do. To navigate to this new phase in your practice in your life, you really need to lean into the community that really gets you. That doesn't mean to abandon all of those older people or all of those things that are holding you back. It just means that you have to find this new community to support you. It's not different from patients who are experiencing a new diagnosis. Some people feel like if you diagnose them with diabetes, it's a death sentence. It's a new thing for them. And they are coping with this new thing that they have to now deal with. And what do those people do? They lean on to their community of people who understand diabetes. There are support networks for people like that to just talk about their feelings and their experiences And also, they're looking for solutions too. Now, physicians, we have to do the same thing. We have to lean into the community that fits our next phase of life, which means finding other direct care doctors. It means participating in conversations that you see in groups like Specialists for Direct Care. It means that they are there for you to help you live out your wildest dreams. So take advantage of that. So leaning on your community is probably the first thing I didn't do because I didn't know I had a community. As a solo business owner, it's easy to say, I'll just figure it out all myself. I can't rely on other people, right? We tell ourselves these really terrible stories that don't help us. And it took me a long time to finally realize I didn't have to shelter all of that weight myself. That there were people out there, my people, that I can trust if I was just learning to be a little bit more vulnerable with myself and admit that no, I can't solve all of the problems I'm confronted with. So that's why I share with you, lean on your community. You might feel like you have to solve everything on your own, but the reality is you don't. A lot of the problems you're currently having have already been solved. You just have to know how to get there. And it's the people that can help you how to get there. The second way that you can kind of navigate these rough waters is to journal, a handwritten journal, or to record. I use my iPhone's voice memo to just spit out whatever it is I'm thinking. Sometimes when my brain is so messy, there's a lot of different things, a lot of tabs open. It's hard to kind of focus on who needs my attention upstairs. So I would record. I would pull out my recorder and say whatever it is I'm thinking. And then sometimes I just delete it and feel good about that. Like I just let it go. It's verbal diarrhea and then it's trash. And then I'm done with it. It serves nothing to live in my brain. And you might do this with a written journal where you have a problem you're trying to express or navigate. You write it out and then you read it and you're like, I guess that wasn't a big deal after all. I'm glad it's out there. I'm done. I can move on. It might make you feel really good to just rip out that piece of paper and put it in the trash, burn it, I don't know, do something ritualistic with it so that you can feel it has exited your brain, like it's no longer inside of your brain, causing havoc. It's done, it's been sorted with, gone. So that would be my second suggestion is to make your thoughts tangible and then choose what to do with that information. Throw it away, delete it, whatever. You have to really get into the habit of sorting out the thoughts in your mind, especially when you don't have clarity, because making it tangible will provide the clarity. If it's a problem you're actively trying to solve and it's not been solved yet, then you can park it aside and just highlight it and come back to it another day when you do have the energy to deal with it. But nonetheless, get it out of your head, speak to somebody else, record it, write it out, whatever you need to do, make it a habit. And then number three, the last thing that will help you navigate the next phase of your transformation is always make an effort to reframe your current situation. So let's say a patient doesn't want to pay your new prices, okay? That's okay, let them go. Because the reframe is, it's gonna make room for new patients who will. You gotta let go of the old stuff to make room for the new stuff. That's just the balancing art of the energy of the world, the quantum physics, however you wanna phrase it. That's how it is. You make room for new stuff by getting rid of old stuff. Now, what if you have friends who you love and care for and they care for you? They just don't understand. Every time you talk about business, they roll their eyes, they're changing the topics, they're just not interested in what you have to say, or they tell you you're crazy. That's okay. Make new friends. Make new friends who will let you live out your dream, who will entertain you, who will even problem solve with you and help you think a little differently about what you're navigating. If you've had old colleagues who you feel have forgotten you, reframe the situation. That's okay. That is the old version of your life. You no longer are in the season to help each other. Don't worry. They're going to show up again because if they're within the system and they hate their job and they don't know what to do, but they're just going to keep doing what they know, eventually some of them will trickle back and start asking you questions about, hey, I know you've been doing this direct care thing. Can you help me understand it? Can you help me take the next steps? And I can't even begin to tell you how many of these doctors within my local community have done that. And even the people I reach outside of my physical community through the podcast, through LinkedIn, through Facebook, have reached out and said, look, I've been listening to you for a long time. I've been reading your posts for a long time. It's time for a chat. So our old colleagues, we know they're suffering because we were just there. So leave the bridge open-ended. You didn't need me back then. That's okay. I know you'll come back again. And what's really funny is sometimes they come back as a patient because they simply get it. At some point, they will realize how valuable you are, even if they don't see it right now. And that's really okay. So now it's time to reclaim the life you want. And with that, it does come with a lot of fears, a lot of doubts, but also a lot of your wishes on the other side. Realize that it comes at a cost. You can't have everything. Like, what's the saying? You can't have your cake and eat it too. Yeah, and that's okay. You don't want to eat old stuff anyway. You want new stuff. So be willing to lose some of the things that aren't serving you so that you have room for new things. This is an example that I try to teach my daughter. She's now 6 years old. She's in first grade, and she loves stuff. She loves the holidays because it's time for presents, right? And I'm teaching her you can't keep everything just because you want to keep it. If you want new toys, you have to make room by getting rid of the old stuff. And it's not even a one-to-one trade. If you want one new toy, you gotta get rid of 10 old things because I know they've been collecting dust. They've been hidden in the corner somewhere. So you gotta actively work to get the new stuff because we need to have a good balance of the life we're creating. Get rid of the old stuff that's not serving us to make room for the new stuff. So in this new way of being, you can create your dream because there's no dream police. I don't know if you heard me say that before, but imagine as wild as you can. No one's going to stop your brain from thinking, right? It's just you. Making sure you have tangible wins by celebrating every small win, like the first patient who actually pays you without insurance. I'm not talking about a copay, but like your full price, whether it be for a package, a membership, whatever you have, celebrate that. Oh, you got your first win, you got your first 10, then you got your first 100. Even celebrate the first negative review you get pertaining to your policy. The first time I got a negative review that I don't take insurance was a celebration. It's like, yes, the world needs to know. This is what it is. And if you want to use your insurance, you're welcome to go next door. And if they're not serving you, that's what I'm here for. That's why I left. And I always celebrate when a colleague becomes my patient. It's such a wonderful feeling to see eye to eye with somebody who maybe didn't see eye to eye with you before. And it's like, yeah, now you get it. And it's really cool. The last thing is keep doing the thing, even if you don't feel like doing it. Like, don't wait for motivation to create change. Create the discipline to keep learning about business, about their mindset, about how they shifted their attitudes about their world and how they created their new world. Always try to seek answers to help your current situation by reading more books or listening to podcasts or talking to people who are where you want to be. So it's really important that you don't give in to your negative beliefs, but instead reframe them and then correct them. Once you're on the other side, you have your direct care practice, patients are flowing in easily, you're going to realize you've got more time for yourself, for your loved ones, for your hobbies, all the things. So start making a list of what you wish you had time for and start doing them. So for me, these are the three things I started to implement. I started to add more massage days. So I call those my mental health days, where it's just about my body. So adding massages. The second thing on my to-do list is I want a chef. I want a personal chef at least once a month. It's not every day yet, maybe someday. But my first step is just to find somebody who can provide some nice, healthy meals for my entire family, at least one day a month. I wish I had a parent or a grandparent to fulfill that role, but I don't. So I got to buy one, and that's okay. That's what I want to do with my money. And then the third thing is I started to create a schedule where I can have more house cleaning done by a professional. I'm not doing it. I refuse to do it. I'll do my bare minimum, but I'm not good at it. I don't want to do it, and I have adult money, so I will be spending my adult money on more massages, a personal chef, and house cleaning chores. And that's how you buy back your time. It's so common to live on autopilot, to be busy and not make time for yourself. But now's the time to start planning for that. Because if you don't plan for that, it's going to be filled up with busy work, with unfulfilling work. So make a list, make time for them, or buy your time, and of course, get professional help where you can. Before I let you go, I wanted to invite you to ask me anything. There is a button down below where you go straight to the website, speakpipe.com/TEADPM, and you can record your question. This will help me answer them and answer them for everybody else. So feel free to anonymize yourself. If you don't want to state your name, that's okay. You can just ask me a question about direct care and I'll answer them for you. So I hope you take advantage of that, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. That's all I've got for today. Catch you next week. Take care. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a review and share it with a friend so more doctors can learn about direct care. Let's keep the conversation going on LinkedIn so we can help more doctors escape insurance and thrive in private practice. Thanks for listening. I'll talk with you next time. Take care.